born to be a traveler with curiosity and show my people pushing passion, pride, and let my journey be across the spaces that divide us, the spaces that confine us, the spaces that define love, call out and make us rise up, the spaces that create us, the spaces we must break up. Latitudes is the space between you and me. Latitudes is the space between he and she. Latitudes is the space between I and we. Latitudes is the space between. This week I'm in the northern province in Venda, which back in the day was a homeland, a Bantustan. In 1994, when apartheid ended, Venda was reincorporated back into the Republic of South Africa. I am in Venda this week to try to find out about the positions of power that Venda women occupy in their society. Because I've always had the understanding that African cultures are very patriarchal and that women are not allowed to occupy positions of power. If they are, it's always like secondary positions of power, you know, that are not equal in any way to the positions that men occupy. But I'm told that in Chivenda society, women occupy a very unique position and that they're allowed to express their power in the family, in the community, through the systems of governance, even through the culture and through the spirituality. So that is why I am here this week, to find out how Bavenda women express their power in Chivenda culture. I'm at the University of Venda in Thohoyandou to speak to Jane Mufamadi. Now, Jane works in the psychology department here at the university, and she's currently working towards her PhD thesis, which is about unsung heroes in the Venda community, about women who have expressed power and leadership and authority in the roles that they play in the community. So I want to talk to her about this. Hello. Are you Jane? Nice to meet you. I'm Leo.
Oh, nice to meet you.
Thank you for talking to me. You know, Jane, there's this perception that African culture is inherently patriarchal. After having done all this research and found out all this information, how do you feel about it?
After having done my research, I don't quite agree with those perceptions anymore because I'm learning quite a lot, particularly when you look at the Venda culture and the role of makazi. Because if you understand that and what the duties that makazi performs among the Venda people, you'll have a different perception. Indirectly, women have got the powers and they are the decision makers. Men are basically the implementers. But the challenge that we have is that through contacts with other cultures and particularly issues around colonialism and the apartheid system, which made us sort of look down upon our own cultures, we have tended to lose those values and we don't understand how things were done.
Can you describe the role of the Makhadzi? Who is the Makhadzi?
Makhadzi is the father's sister. It is the sister to the father. She plays a very crucial role within the family. As a child, for example, if I want something and my father doesn't want me to do what I want to do, I can always go to Makhadzi. And Makhadzi can negotiate on my behalf and overturn my father's decision. So she has that role.
What happens, I want to ask you a little bit about situations like that are an exception to the rule, you know, like me and my family, I don't have brothers, I've got 2 sisters, you know. Will I ever be a Makhadzi?
When we talk about family, we don't talk about a nuclear family. We're talking about a nucleus family. And generally, you'll find that among African families, they are usually polygamous. So being a Makhadzi does not necessarily mean that you become a Makhadzi to the person that you were born with. So you could be a Makhadzi to your
cousins,
cousin
brothers,
yes,
cousin sisters.
Brothers, cousin sisters.
Is there a reason why, based on the qualities that are inherent in women, is there a reason why that they've been entrusted with this like advisory power, this advisory authority?
Yes, generally I would say that women are very strong. If you look at the domestic duties that they do, even if just a mere look at that, you'll know that women are very strong. But also women, they undergo through rites of passages, initiation schools. They're initiated, and some of these values, these qualities, are inculcated through that.
I find the role of the Makhadzi really interesting, but I wonder if these women are really respected by their families. I want to see how Makhadzis are treated by their families and find out what their responsibilities are. I've just traveled about 30 kilometers outside of Thohoyandou, and I'm at the Mokombane Palace, which is home to King Chibase, who is a very powerful leader of the Venda people. Now, this is a man who has 76 chiefs who report directly to him, and he, in turn, is heavily influenced by his father's sister, or Makhadzi ka Sepedi, or Makhadzi ka Venda. So I want to find out from him about the position that women occupy in Venda culture, and also find out about the role and the responsibilities that his aunt has, you know, and how she influences him and how he feels about this. It's very interesting to be in this space. It's so beautiful. It's green, it's lush, and all around the palace are these walls made of these massive stones by hand in 1840. And when you look at this, like, it reminds me of pictures that I've seen of, like, Great Zimbabwe, and, you know, you can see where the ancestry comes from. It's very beautiful.
We done.
Yeah, re teng le kae? Nna ke Lebogang Mashile, ke tswa ko Gauteng, ke tlile mo go bua le morena.
Hai vo tanganedziwa fhano ha Tshivhasa lwa name ri ḓo vha swikisa vho Thovhele vho miḓi ya vhathu Tshivhasa kha ri.
Thank you, ke a leboga.
Kaya Sira. No. Ngindi. Dada la
Ke mo go bua le Thobela go mmotsa gore basadi ka Sevenda ba na le influence e jwang mo community haholo le Makhadzi yena o na le influence e jwang ka Tshivenda.
No. Sira. Kale. Sira. Bo Makhadzi. Ko ri va ri swikisela vaeni vo dawa hapa va khonya go vonana na vo Thobela.
Ai ndi zwona.
No.
Mtombe, toinya, Mutombe, Marunga zindebe, vele lambe, mwende u, Mtombe.
Ndikushikisa wenu wojena.
Ndaundu.
Zokufara Makhadzi. Ndakavasvike.
Vo Makhadzi mushumo wavo ndi woita chimwe na chimwe sa vaeni vojena vasvikiswa nga vo Makhadzi navo vose vuchijena khosi isumbiwa nga Makhadzi na vana vachitusiwa va Musanda huvidzwa Makhadzi a thusa ari na madzina vafumakadzi va Musanda vaambiswa nga Makhadzi va da va jena mutani.
Wela wa tsho hore ko wena o choosang the next Thobela ko pon hlalosetse hore o mo choosa jwang.
Ndine ane ndakuvangana navo ndananga khosi ngori nne ndo maliwa nga kholomo dza ṱuwa dzo mala mme he khosi.
Ke Makhadzi wa Thobela fela o etsang mosebetsi o motho o mong Makhadzi fela mo family A1 ke yena o etsang mosebetsi o so.
Ava Makhadzi vamwe vo va dzita zwezwo zwine nne ra ita zwone hanenge mudini ya havo.
Ne ke batla o tseba if nka botsa Thobela potso A1 fela.
Haiwa ndi a vatendela.
Kore how important is she mo bophelong ba hao? o nagana gore o ka etsa mosebetsi wa gago if she wasn't there?
Ashaiwa Makhazi mutani zwithu a zwi tshimbili ngauri thaidzo dzine wa ṱangana nadzo u ḓo dzi vhudza nnyi nga maanḓa kha vhuhosi. Ndi nga si ri ndo ṱangana na dzi thaidzo nda vhudza miyanga vho mbebaho ngori miyanga vho to ḓa nga kholomo. Makhazi u funa u vha hone ngauri zwithu zwi nga si tshimbile ndi zwa vhukuma arali Makhazi a siho. Ndi ngazwo ri khou ri Makhazi ri funa u mu ṱhonifha, u funa u vha a hone kha tshiṅwe na tshiṅwe tshine zwa khou itiwa musanda ngauri ndi ene shothodzo, ndi ene ane a ita zwori hafha muḓini hu khwaṱhe hu vhonale hu muḓini. Ndi ngazwo ri khou ri Makhazi a shaya muḓini zwithu zwinzhi zwi a tshinyala, a zwithu zwi tshimbila nga nḓila yavhuḓi ya mvelele yone yone ya Tshivenḓa.
Ke a leboga Thobela, ke a leboga Makhadzi, ke a leboga bontate, ke lebogile. The fact that the king is chosen from the royal house where the wife has been lobolad with the same cows that the Makhadzi was lobolad with, I think is very, very powerful. And the king acknowledges that without these cows, in essence, without this person, without the Makhadzi, his power wouldn't exist. Even his life himself, he wouldn't exist. And he acknowledges that. And I think that that's very powerful and it's very beautiful and it's something to celebrate. According to Venda traditions, an individual's development takes place according to a series of phases. And the really special thing is that in this culture, each phase is recognized as honored and the person is celebrated for going through these phases. The most important phases are puberty and marriage. I am in the village of Mashoana, which is not so far from Thohoyandou, to witness a ritual called Msebeto. This is the first of a series of puberty rituals. Oh, my shoes. Off. Okay.
Tamba nga havala batho ba mvula hela ni khulwane ya buya yana yo kwasha na maburo hapa
We bone jwang kore
a the re shuma nga beba ba no re butsa ho no pfi bulungani ndu bulunga zwo bvelelaho thiṅwe tshifhinga nda bulunga zwi sa thuda
ba le ba o tshwara jwang after o qalo sebetsa after o so qadile o sebetsa like bo monna wa hao le community ya hao di neighbors sa hao
o thomane ne bo ba tshire ndi ita madudwane zwidudwane ndari zwidudwane ndi mini athi zwidudwane nga tsha hashu ndi batho bo faho thi
wa yona gana go batho ba bua jwalo ka wena ba re ha bophelo ba ga bo tswela pele bona ba re I know
ne ri nga diva zwino nkhabe nne ndi muṅwe boyi ndo vha ndo zwithupha ndari ebo ne ba nyamba zwidudwane uri ndi bulawe mara fhedzi ni ngori ndi a ḓivha zwo uri nne ndi ita zwithu zwe nda rumiwa nga vhahashu a thi pfi ndi na tshiṅwe tshithu
mama o nagana gore ke ka baka la eng badimo ba ga ba o file mpho e
u ṱhonifha zwine badzimu vha ofha vha u tikedza mara arali wa nyadzai hei u ḓo tambula
kwena
ndo ḓi ita zwino ndi khou tou humbulela uri ndi ḓo ita nga dzi tsimbi dzedzo dza makhuwa vhana uri dzi bronzo nda wana tshelede ndi fanela uri ndi songo fhelela fhasi ndi songo ḓi sia nnḓa.
Mama, mosebetsi wa gago ke mosebetsi o mogolo o agile dintlo tse 3 o ile wa tsamaya o ya overseas ntho tse ngata fela batho ba bangata ba tla re mosebetsi o ke mosebetsi wa banna gore basadi ba tshwanela gore ba etse dintho tse so.
Ndi zwine nda amba uri hezwo zwithu zwi dzindela vhathu vhanzhi nga maanḓa nda sa ḓivhe uri kana ndi vhubvana kana thi ḓivhi ni ngori nne vhathu u tambulani hanga ndo vhuya na vhana nga vhuhadzi hoyu muhulwane ana miṅwaha 5 na 2 hoyu muṱuku ana miṅwaha 5 nne ndo ndi tshi tou rwela ṱhanga ya nnḓu hedzi dza hashu hedzi dza Tshivenḓa tou rwela nda fulela nda haḓatsi nda fulela nne.
Mama, ha ke so bone mme o lekanang le wena o kentseng di-dreadlocks ba re ke
mabudzi aya mabudzi wala
aya
ndona badzimu ndi abadzimu haya yo hai ndagara zwiti hey hai ndagara ha
ntle
hai hafa ndone botolode ya
Mama, go na le strate se seng ko Newtown ko Gauteng ko Johannesburg ke Mabaso Street.
Ke saka
Ke sa
ndichanga roya ra uri chibvula no awadiwa nga chitrata ndina awadi nzhi hafha ndina awadi nzhi nga mani mara zwanḓa ndi makwanda vhuiwe vha zwanḓa zwitete no awadiwa nga mi
bona matsoa ka di soft adina akena
next na negisi na negisi
ai bo sheba matsoa how when you have this house. Oh mama no yo
ndi zwone kwana nga no zwivona zwoṱhe thi
ai ke a leboga mama haholo
re tsula fase ra haholo.
I walked in here not knowing what to expect. I knew that I was going to speak to a world-famous artist, but I had no idea that Nenoria was going to be so inspiring and just so profound. I mean, she's black, she's African, she's Venda, she's rural, she's a woman. She started out poor in this environment and was able to work her way up to the top. As a woman, I'm inspired. As a woman, I feel like there is no ceiling to what I achieve, to what I can achieve. I came to Venda with the perception that African cultures are inherently patriarchal. And what I've realized is that I don't know enough about African cultures to make that assumption. What I know is based on my experiences, on my family, on what I learned and saw growing up. But I realized that, you know, what I learned in the city and what I learned growing up outside of South Africa is so far removed and so different from what my culture was originally like, that I'm not in a position to make that assumption, because what I've experienced is an incredible distortion of what the culture actually really is. And in this place, in Venda, women are allowed to express their inherent gifts, and there's no ceiling placed on what they can be in their society. They're allowed to be active in the political realm, in the spiritual realm, in the cultural realm. And even though, you know, it's not easy to be a powerful woman. I don't think any of the women that I met live easy lives, you know? But I think it's a wonderful thing that there's no limit placed on what they can be. There's no limit placed on what a woman can be in this environment. And I think that that's a beautiful thing. It's something that's worth celebrating. I greet you on the earth from which we came to hear your name. The pulse of purpose is a birthright. The drum in me resounds untamed. It speaks for ancestry, for her story, for the God in she, for memory. Like the walls our fathers built until the elephant's head was found. As brave as the morning sky, but I will always respect the ground. Give me a new set of eyes.